Welcome to No Small Roles. This is the show where I speak with fellow actors about their careers and about some of their smaller roles in movies, TV, maybe even stage, and about that's what we talk about. I threw myself up by saying stage. Anyway, today's guest is someone very near and dear to my heart. He is an actor. He's a puppeteer. He's a musician. He's a hubby. He's a dad. But most importantly, he is my big brother, Christian Anderson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, little brother Ian.
Thank you, big brother Christian, for doing it. Now, I know people might be thinking, wait a minute, but his name is Christian Anderson and you're Ian Lyons. So Christian, Anderson must be his fake actor name. No. In fact, Christian's the real deal. I'm the faker. Changed it when I was 15 to my mom's maiden name.
Woo-hoo, gaga.
Woohoo. Anyway, so everyone knows you from a few things. I looked in IMDb, and there's one thing I'm going to start with that is not on there, but I remember being excited to see it when it was playing at the theater in 1996, and it's called Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, I'm like, oh my God, it's playing downtown LA. And I went to go see it. I'm like, that's my brother. He's like you're the unhoused person or homeless guy.
Yeah, 2 spots away from the hedgehog, Ron, what's his name?
The hedgehog?
Yeah, big porn star. I think he's in prison now.
Oh, wait, Ron Jeremy?
Ron Jeremy, right, yeah.
I know that because you'd mentioned that name. I don't.
Yeah.
What? I don't even know what porn is. I don't. Okay, so people also know you. Okay, so Romeo and Juliet, The Division, Life on Mars, which you must have been excited about because I know you love Bowie and that song. That's a great
but
song.
I got cut out of that episode.
That's their loss.
Yeah.
And that's something we talk about a lot on the show is that everyone gets cut and it sucks. But they paid you for the day. There's no residuals, but whatever. So Life on Mars, Law and Order, where you get burned. I remember that. I think you're also in something else that's not on IMDb, but aren't you in The Office as a waiter?
Yeah.
That's not on IMDb.
Well, you know what? To be honest,
that wasn't cut. You were in it.
Yeah, I was in that. And some people, I get texts every once in a while going, "Oh, I just saw your episode." There are like 3 Christian Andersons. So there's a guy, Christian Anderson. I know 2 of them, and this one
as good as you,
maybe better. I'm not familiar with one of the Christians' works, but there's another Christian Anderson who I know who is now, I believe, a priest.
Oh,
and he does a lot of like online content, talking about, God and ministry and all that stuff. But he's from Chicago, Christian S. Anderson, and he has some of my roles or whatever. What do you call them?
Credits.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Grandpa.
On his, last I checked, which was years ago, we're on his IMDb.
Jerk.
He's a super nice guy. And I went to go meet an agent once, in New York, and I walked in and like, "Hey, Christian, yeah, heard a lot about you. How's Chicago?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
You're like, "I'm not that guy."
Different guy. And like, "Oh, so sorry." So he's pretty well known, and he's done a lot. And occasionally we'll be like, "Oh, hey, happy birthday, me," that kind of a thing.
So do you think he won't go to hell for stealing your credits? Isn't that sort of a sin?
Well, also he's a priest, so no, I don't think he will.
Okay.
No, he's a nice guy, and I don't care. I was like, well, what the hell? That sucks. And I was kind of trying to contact IMDb, and
which is so hard to do that stuff with them.
Yeah, and I was just like, can I swear on this thing?
I would encourage it.
I was like, fuck you, IMDb, and I didn't pay for their fucking premiere service. And
I think they're in England, so swear in a way that they would understand.
Oh, they're in England?
I think they're based in England. Is that right? All right, perfect. I'm sorry. So go on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was good. But you were saying you reached out to IMDb, and then I interrupted you. Remember that part?
Oh, that's it. I mean, I just reached out, and then they never responded. Nothing ever got done, and I was like, I don't give a whatever.
It's impossible.
Credits. I know what I did, and I was kind of losing like my interest in all that stuff. I guess
I want to get to that part of it in a moment, but there are more credits I want to talk about.
Oh, boy.
You were in 2 movies called Starship something. There's like Starship 1 and Starship 2, and I've never even heard of these.
God. Yeah, I never even, no, I've seen clips. These were like, there was this guy, I don't even remember his name. This guy from...
We'll call him Jim.
Sure. He kind of self-produced and he directs these movies that are very green screen heavy and, you know, like digital effects, but they're like, they're straight to video kind of things. And I was working with this guy at a restaurant where a lot of actors work.
A lot of actors do. No shame in that.
Yeah. And this guy, Darren, was like, oh, he's from England. He was like, oh, you've got to do this movie with me. It'd be really great. I think he's going to really like you. And we hit it off. And I played this character, kind of like a Han Solo-y kind of character, I guess.
Okay.
And I die in a big spaceship crash or something.
Now got 2 dead brothers.
Oh, yeah. Yes, so. But my death was way cooler. I fell from way higher.
And there were lasers.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt that's terrible. Your mother's gonna watch this.
Hi,
She
Mom.
knows. Mom, your other son's dead, but we
Yeah.
love you.
Yeah.
Okay. And we love him too. But okay, so you were a Han Solo type character, like in the Guardians of the Galaxy. I could see you being like him.
Yeah, I guess kind of like that, sort of like kind of irreverent and whatever. But I've totally forgot about that. We shot those like in Van Nuys in a little warehouse, and he made like spaceship interiors out of like packing crates. It was, you know, plastic packing crates. It was interesting.
Yeah.
I
mean, this sounds like a lot of fun. That's the kind of thing I'd want to do.
It was a lot of fun, and I had like a big old gun that was made out of, you know, like a cut milk cartons, and then, you know, I don't know, little tops from applesauce containers that little babies eat, you know, those little round tops so they can't swallow.
Yeah.
You know, those kinds of things as dials and stuff. Just that kind of a thing. It was just a homemade movie. And the original girlfriend in Back to the Future, who she wasn't in the
Oh yeah, yeah.
but she played a character in this movie, the Starship One, I guess.
That is stupid. They got rid of her for Back to the Future too, but whatever.
Right,
she still did it.
She did it, right.
You also did this show. We'll talk about this too. You did a few episodes of America's Got Talent. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But you did Life in Pieces, which we'll show a clip of that.
Mm-hmm.
Crank Yankers, which I want to talk about as well. Mm-hmm. And then you've done a ton of stage, a ton of regional theater back when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And then Broadway with Rent and Full Monty. Full Monty, did that go to Broadway?
It was a Broadway tour, but it was the first national tour. I did not. It was on Broadway. And
did you go? Okay.
Then they
you didn't go back.
I didn't go to Broadway with it, but that's why I saw it on Broadway. And my buddy Will Chase, he's a big Broadway guy, and he was doing the role of Jerry, and I went and I talked to him afterwards, and then I got the role on the second iteration of the tour. They put it out in beginning of 2001, I guess, and then 9/11 happened, and they canceled the tour. And then
my birthday,
happy birthday. And then after that, they they put the tour together with different producers, and I'd worked with those guys on Rent, and they were like, "What are you doing? You want to try to get into this thing?" And I got the part.
Of course you did.
I never went back to New York.
I would say along with your daughter Coco, I'm your biggest fan.
Well, you're bigger than Coco, so you're probably my biggest fan.
Yeah, so I am literally your biggest fan. Wasn't Patrick Wilson initially from that as well?
Wilson originated the role of Jerry that I played. Will took over for Patrick Wilson. When I was on tour, we went to Tampa. I believe Patrick Wilson, grew up in Tampa, and his dad is like a local news guy over there. So when we were in Tampa promoting our stop there, the tour stop there, he did this funny thing where we met, and Patrick called him. There was like some guy they knew from high school, I guess, who was having a breakdown or something. I don't know. He's having some kind of, or something happened in town, and they were catching up. And his dad was like, "Hey, you got to talk to this guy, Christian." And he's like, "I don't know this guy. Boy, he's in town doing the show. We're going to interview him in a second." All right. Hey, man, how you doing? He was doing like the Alamo movie or something, you know. I was like, well, it's congratulations and everything, and nice talking to you. Dad's cool, and that was that. He was very nice on the phone, and then we shot the segment, and then the segment aired later, either that night or the next day or something. But it started out with like, hey, I'm you know, Jim Wilson. I don't think his name. Maybe I don't know what his name is, but you know, Patrick's dad.
Oh, his dad. Yeah.
He's like the entertainment, you know, news guy over there in Tampa. And he was like, well, as you know, I do all the shows and all the shows that come in here. And as you also know, my son is, you know, is in the movies now, and he was on Broadway in the full Monty. And I think we have him here right now. Patrick, son, dad. Oh, I'm not your son. I'm Christian Anderson, but I'm playing the same part as your son originated on Broadway. And, you know, it was just a silly little bit, but it was funny.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's kind of the thing. That was like the thing that I believe Full Monty was the thing that kind of launched his career sort of into film and TV. But we are here to talk about you.
Whoa. Okay.
What? Okay. So I need
4
to.
minutes, right?
Yeah. 3 minutes.
Okay.
I need to start with, I don't know if you've seen this before, but I do have an emotional question I start with. I know you can be pretty sensitive. So I'm going to just jump right in. Do you prefer grilled cheese with or without tomato, crybaby?
Oh, do I like? I would say I like with. I'll do without if I have to, but with is awesome. I love with.
Yeah, you're. I was saying because I asked this question of Camille. So Camille Chen is Christian's wifey.
That's what I saw.
And she was on
promo.
Oh yeah, she's in there. But I asked her this question. I think she said with tomato as well. And then I asked her about the fancy cheeses because I said, you guys are pretty fancy eaters. Like you are like you make fancy food. And so I feel like she was almost offended. I suggested you guys only eat fancy food.
We don't only eat fancy food. We like fancy food, you know.
Okay.
We like sushis and you know, ramens, and we like burgers, but we like, you know, burgers. It's a smash burger is a nice burger. Okay. We like candy. We like popcorn.
Are you picky about your tomatoes though that you put on your grilled cheese?
No.
Okay, good. My neighbor, who he'll probably see this, he's very picky about his tomatoes. He I just don't even get that. A tomato's a tomato, right? It's red, it's round-ish.
I don't know. You've got the heirloom tomatoes, and they can be green, and they can be like burgundy. You know, all different.
Are those handed down from like your grandmother?
Well, yeah. The idea, I guess, is that those are kind of the original tomatoes, and they aren't round and red and beautifully perfect. You know, they're like kind of mutant tomatoes. They look like, but no. Today's tomatoes, they're round and, you know, like the beefsteaks and your typical red tomatoes are the mutants. We've turned them from the beautiful misshapen green and red and maroon blobs into these perfect little things, perfect for television.
See, you do know all that stuff, fancy pants.
I mean, I know of stuff.
I don't know of anything else.
I could have this all completely wrong, but I think that's the case. Heirloom tomatoes. Okay,
I didn't know that. I will just take your word for it. I won't look it up. So I'm going to jump to the next thing. So you are smart. You wear glasses. You have more hair than I do, which is unfair because you're considerably older, but way more wise than I. Proving it since you know so much about tomatoes, you're clearly very intelligent. So why are you an actor?
I'm not an actor anymore, really.
Are you not?
Because I'm smart.
Yeah, well, I guess.
I like to perform. Okay. But I like to perform with now, these days, a puppet on my hand.
That's acting.
You know, sure. You know, when I always wanted to be a puppeteer, but I didn't know how to go about doing that, right? And then I was an actor, and then I got into a show where there were puppets, and I was working with professional puppeteers. Now, I love these puppeteers, are awesome puppeteers, but I would, you know, be like, hey, how am I doing? Am I okay? Am I a puppeteer? You know, like, would you consider me a puppeteer, professional puppeteer? Like, well, almost there. You're almost there. Yet when they would want to do something outside of puppetry, or what they were doing puppetry, and they'd be like, yeah, but you're not an actor. Oh, we are actors. We are actors. Okay. All right. So sure. Yeah. Puppeteer is an actor. But it's
in a big way.
your hand is acting. You know, yes, absolutely. You are. I just, you know, I don't know. There was just seeing this weird dichotomy. Is that the word? You know, like, or double standards, sort of. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, that's true. You would say actor, and that's a puppeteer. And I did differentiate when I was introducing you. So I could see there. I didn't mean to undermine your answer.
Oh, okay. No, but I mean, you're right. A puppeteer, sure, is an actor, but it's a very specific kind of acting. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, for sure. It's highly, not to say
using my voice and my body, but you don't see my body. You just see my covered hand, really, right?
which is kind of the best because it's the kind of acting you can age into. Which I'm not saying you're aging, but you could turn 90 and still be doing what you did when you were 50.
Right. But, and I could also, you know, be 4, you know what I mean? Like, or be a 3-year-old, you know, like a baby.
That's true. And you do put on voices like you're very little and stuff.
Yeah.
But before we continue, because I want to go into how the whole acting thing started and moved into the puppetry. But okay, so first, this is a picture of us when we were very young Christians, the tall one on the right, and I'm the one in the middle.
Who cut that? Who cut that? My hair is uneven.
It looks the same. Your hair hasn't changed. I have less than I did then. Yeah. So that's us when we were young. But I need to ask you that we have the segment coming up later called the Kiss and Tell, where we share a behind the scenes story. Can you tease what your Kiss and Tell will be in one word? So is that UHH?
No. Hypertension.
Hypertension. Oh, you're making me spell big words.
Yeah.
All right. Hypertension. Okay. We're going to come back to that in a little bit.
Okay.
So I want to back up. Obviously, I know some things about you. I grew up in the same house as you. I've known you since I was 0.
Yeah.
You come from a family of an actor dad and a stage director, journalist mom.
Yes.
So did you always know that you wanted to be an actor? Did you feel like you didn't have a choice and that was what you were going to do? Or was that bug always there?
The bug was always there. I always wanted to be there. As far as I remember, you know, Mom was doing a lot of theater and she was doing small productions, like college productions, or she was, I guess my first thing was Mom was doing something at UMass. She was doing a production of Hair, maybe in 1970, maybe. I don't know. I was a baby.
He was born in 69, so he was very little. Yeah.
Yeah, I was little. I just turned 56 last
Happy birthday, big brother.
Thank you very much.
I'm way younger.
Yeah, by 3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
It's not way younger. You'll be 50.
3 years in like 2 months.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Come on. Sorry, everyone. I'm not sensitive about aging. He just has more hair, so I'm jealous.
I do, and I'm older, considerably older. So Mom was like, "Oh, I got a naked baby to put in the show. Here's the sunshine. Here's a naked baby," and that was me. So I mean, it was always just I was always watching, you know, Francis Papa sing songs and be up on stage, and you know, you look up to your parents, you're like, "Oh, that's so cool. I want to do that." Yeah. You know, and Mom always had these interesting people around. I remember like people like Jack Candle, I think his name, or Crandall. Oh, yeah. You know, he was like a musical theater guy. There was some other
Pete and Tony.
They were our neighbors. I don't know if they were actors, but you know, theatrical people. Yeah, they might have been actors. I don't know. They lived in New York City. I don't know. But but there was just always these interesting people around, and I loved the party aspect of being in my room and hearing, you know, parties going on, or I just loved the laughing. I loved the drama of people like, you know, talking shit about other people, you know, when they weren't there, and then we'd have to go to rehearsal and see them interact, you know, and I know this secret, you know, that people are talking. I just loved it. I loved the music. Mom listened to, you know, musical theater records all the time. So
like Pippin and Godspell and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. And it was just all around us. So yes, I wanted to be a part of it. And I was a part of it because, like I said, Mom just threw us in everything, you know.
Do you remember that time when, because we left New York City when I was about 2 years old. I have no recollection other than like maybe vibes of New York, but I have no recollection of that time. Do you remember living there and going to those, seeing Francis on stage?
A lot of rehearsals and things like that in New York. I remember I remember more like sidewalks carrying. I remember, and maybe I'm making this up. I don't think I am, but I used to want to carry the gallon of milk home. So I remember carrying that down the street. I remember like maybe an image or a kind of a video in my head of you, you know, in a long red hat.
Oh yeah, with the polka dots. I think we have that somewhere.
That might have been later, but I just remember little images and being on the subway a little bit, seeing a guy with no eyes who lived across our apartment near the Museum of Natural History. Just little tiny bits. Most of like the theatrical stuff that I remember was when we got to Connecticut when I was a little bit older, you know, when Mom was doing a lot of you know, the Nutmeg Players and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And working with the old, I guess she worked with
that
the
was later, when it was like 10 or 12 or something. But you know, the younger stuff, like in the mid to late 70s, like 76 maybe to like 79. I remember some stuff around then, I guess. Nothing specific. It's all kind of, you know, smushed together. I remember a production probably, I was in third grade, so I was probably 7, 8 in 79 of Fiddler on the Roof in Old Saybrook, or was it Clinton? It was Clinton, across the street from the elementary school there that I went to later.
I ate wax there. I have like a vague memory of eating wax in that basement.
That was a dumb thing for you to do.
It was blue, and it just makes me sick to think about still. But oh wow, that brings me back. Okay,
but I do remember Mom worked, I guess, in the box office at Circle in the Square, and I kind of remember playing around there. I may remember you falling on the escalator and putting that dent in your head. I don't know.
That dent's gone, but yeah, I did have that.
Yeah, but just
so. So you did perform in Clinton in that performance of Fiddler on the Roof?
I believe I was like one of the, you know, exiles from Anatevka, you know, where they're in the town and then they have to leave the town at the end of the show. I just saw the show with my friend Gwen in it and Jason, what's his face from Seinfeld. He was in it. He was great. Anatevka.
Oh, Alexander.
Yeah. He was great. He was Tevye, but Anatevka, I think, is the name of the town. So I think I was, you know, in that scene, or maybe in the back while they're singing Matchmaker or whatever, doing whatever they're doing.
Oh, I remember listening to I didn't even know that song was from that, but that makes sense.
Jack Crandall, I think it was his name. I think he might have been in that cast. And then other people too, like Colin, and then he had an older sister, and her parents were involved in all that stuff. I don't remember their names, but Mom would know all that stuff.
That was maybe so you basically remember your first acting experience as being drafted by Mom as, oh, I got a kid that age, I got a baby that age. That's how I did any of my stage work, was being drafted by Mom.
But I loved it. You know, there was
you wanted to be there.
I totally wanted to be there, and I thought it was really cool, you know, because like people were like, I got it, you know, I got the relationship between, like, because I would sit there and we'd watch, you know, I'd watch my father, you know, do some stuff, and I'd be like, wow, that is so cool. And you see the lights and you see the set, and he's like playing pretend, and he pretend he couldn't see me, but I knew he could see. You know, it was, there was just something about it that I got, and wanted to be part of that.
I don't remember him on stage at all, but I always remember you, and watching you, I think I had that very same feeling. Like, that is like awe-inspiring, like your talent and how you could be so comfortable doing your thing up there. But it never made me want to do it. I was never like, I want to be up there too. I'm like, he does his thing and he's really good at it. I will never be that, and I don't want to be that.
I remember that you did the Rocky Horror and you're like, what the hell am I doing here?
Here's a little poster of it. Yeah. Oh, wow. So Christian played Frankenfurter in this production, and I was drafted because they could not find someone to play Rocky, the blonde muscle man. I still to this day clearly have no muscles. Back then they had to build them into a costume, and I'm not an in front of people person. I am an actor in film and TV, but I'm not a stage and lots of eyes and, like, you know, but yeah, so that was very uncomfortable for me. You were amazing in it.
That was so funny.
I think I talked about it before, during a production of that, one of those nights, the person that I became a man with, who I believe you also you were with a few years later. She one night was in the front row, and it was the first time I saw her after she stood me up after our moment. And I was just like, I think I was frozen. I'm like, oh, there's that person. I don't.
I think she passed away this past year.
She did. Yeah. In January, I think she passed away. I don't. So to her family, big hugs and much love. That's very sad.
She was a lot of fun. You know, she was a cool person.
I didn't know her so well. She was fun one night. I was I was a child. Anyway, I was 4 years old. Never mind.
When you became...
And then I became a man. Is that what you said?
4 years old?
No, I think it was like 35 when I finally went. I'm an adult. I was about 35. So you got drafted into a lot of productions, but you also did. No, was everything shows that mom did, or was it stuff at school?
There was a lot of stuff at school. You know, when we moved to New Hampshire and mom was doing a lot of stuff, like she did the Rocky Horror Show, and I auditioned with everybody. It's just, you know, it was in my blood, I think. And mom and I had worked together a ton, but that was around the time where there were other directors like Spiro Valutis, who was also no longer with us.
I remember that name. Okay.
He was doing Forum, and mom was doing something around the same time. And I was like, I want to work with this other director. I've worked with you. I've learned a lot from you, but I want to do something else with this. I'm going to do something with this guy. You know, he's a new director. He had been doing a lot of stuff down in Boston, and I wanted to spread my wings, you know, and get out from, you know, just doing mom's shows.
Yeah,
which I learned a lot from and enjoyed, and it did pay off, you know. But I wanted to work with other directors.
No, of course, and you needed to spread your wings and get out of the house. You at one point though, you went to, because you had a band called Dogtooth Violet.
Yeah.
But you guys had quite a following within Connecticut.
In our town, not Connecticut per se, but in our town for sure. Yeah.
Okay, in Madison, Connecticut. But you at one point you went off to Seattle was that for music or just to like get out of Connecticut and do your own thing? Was that to pursue music or what?
Well, yeah. So I was doing, you know, the stuff in New Hampshire with mom and stuff, and we played a lot of gigs in Connecticut, and that was a lot of fun. And then then I moved to New Hampshire because the band kind of broke up and it was very dysfunctional. And but you know, we all loved each other. But so I moved to New Hampshire, did some musical theater stuff. Then I'm like, I'm going to apply to acting school. And I applied to Juilliard. I applied to the Boston Conservatory, Boston University, and maybe one more. And I got into the Conservatory and Boston University. Couldn't afford to go, really. So I kind of non-matriculated at BU for 2 weeks.
I remember that.
It wasn't my money. And I had other interests like, you know, partying and such. So I was like, I have a feeling this is going to burn a lot of bridges, you know, there were some family friends who were willing to kind of work out the finances with me, but I'd have to pay it back. But I just was not in the mindset to really apply myself. So I was like, I think the best idea for me is not to do this right now or ever.
Not to have that debt is a worthy thing to not want to do.
Yeah.
That sucked for years. Ugh.
So the Dogtooth Violet boys moved to Seattle in the early 90s. And I was like, oh, wow, that sounds like fun. And I loved singing with the band and all that. So I'm like, I'm coming. I had saved a little bit of money and I took a train and went out there. But all we did is more partying. And then those guys went back home, you know, to their parents. Yeah. It was like, fuck, I'm out here alone and I'm working at a Subway and I'm not really doing what I want to do. And so I remember I was in this bar I used to live above. And I said to this one woman, this girl I knew, I don't remember her name, but she was one of the, you know, the crazy party people we hung out with. And I was like, I think I'm going to move back east and try to, you know, become an actor in New York. And she was like, what? Leave all this? What? You think you're good enough? I was like, I just think I won't know if I'm good enough if I don't try. So I was like, bye. And I left and I'm glad I did. And it took a while, but you know, I finally got my shit together. And
I remember before that Jonathan Larson production we're about to talk about,
Mhm.
you did something called Take It Easy, which I kind of feel like that was your kind of first, it felt like a kind of biggish thing for you at the time, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing I did, I moved in and with Papa, and he was kind of he was a dick, I guess. We hadn't talked in a year or
He's
so.
got that reputation.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was kind of a dick, but his wife was like, "No, he's coming here. It's your son." And then we warmed up to each other, and we were fine for a bit. And he introduced me to this guy named Alex. I don't remember Alex's last name, but Alex was doing this like the Agamemnon Papers or something like that. This like off Broadway show in this black box theater way downtown. And it was cool and weird and fun. And Barbara was like, she didn't expect me, I don't think, to do very well, but she was like, wow, you were good in that. And then he introduced me to this guy named Bill Zeffiro. So Papa, Frank, and Bill had done this musical based on JFK. I don't know what it's called, but they thought it was going to go places, and they were doing workshop after workshop of it, and they were really excited about it. I don't know how much became of it, but I never made it to Broadway. I think maybe had done a regional production or something, but I listened to it, and it's solid, good stuff. But it just, didn't really go where they all wanted it to go, I guess. Anywho, I started working with Bill because I had done a lot of musical theater with Mom and, in New Hampshire and then like with Spiro and Roy Rogerson and stuff. And who actually wished me happy birthday last week.
Roy Rogerson?
Yeah. And
that's
Josh, his son. So he was like, well, I'm doing this musical, Take It Easy, maybe you could audition. So I auditioned for it, and I got like an ensemble, like a soldier, guy.
Yeah.
Understudied one of the three main characters. Well, the one guy I understudied, I was working at the Empire Diner, right? And all of a sudden the cast starts walking over to the restaurant. And then I see him like, hey, you guys, what are you doing? You come to did you have a rehearsal that I didn't have to be at? And now you're coming to visit me? And they're like, no, this guy had a fight with Colette, the director of the play. And then he walked out, and you're the new guy. You're John.
Oh my God.
Well, I got bumped up, and then.
Were you terrified or excited about that?
I was so excited. It was a really great opportunity. I felt, it was at the Judith Anderson Theater, which was Mom's name when she was married to Frank.
Our father.
Anderson.
Whoa.
Yeah. Judith Anderson, I guess, was a theater actor. I guess we can look her up. Maybe she did movies and stuff too, but it was on 42nd Street, which is still there, of course, but it was like a rundown kind of crappy, like on the east side of, or west side rather, of 9th Avenue. So back in the day, it was not as Disneyfied as it is now. It was like, 96, I guess. So New York was on its way up from the 80s. But anyway, it was just this kind of crazy hole in the wall theater. And, who knows who could have seen it, when we were right there, so our Off-Broadway show was right next to all the Broadway shows, sort of, it wasn't as far down as the Agamemnon Papers or whatever that show was called. So I did that. And while I was there, I was working with a bunch of, people who wanted to be actors. And somebody said to me, they were all most of them were very, old musical theater-y, you know what I mean? And I don't think I really fit that so much. I wasn't interested in the 42nd Street so much, and the Guys and Dolls and things.
And dancing's not necessarily your thing,
correct?
No way. Certainly not mine. But
yeah.
Okay.
I'm like maybe a double threat or 1.5 threat. I think singing is my strongest.
For sure.
You might, yeah. Oh, what do you mean by that?
Well, no. I'm just saying you're so good in every way except for dancing. No, but you have this confidence.
At all.
You're a powerhouse as an actor. And to see you like singing this, I mean it. Like you commanded every stage I ever saw you on. I remember seeing you in Take It Easy. And I remember how excited we were. We went down with Grandma. I have the CD somewhere still. Take it easy. It was like this kind of
dance in the slow lane. Easy.
I remember that you were so good in that. But then
goofy.
So you were saying about these other kind of theatery people.
And somebody said to me, it might have been this, it might have been Stephanie, was it Stephanie? Am I getting her first name right? Kurtzuba is her last name, and she was in the Irishman. She's and she's also like the spokeswoman for like is it Red? Camille did a commercial with her, a Red Rocket Pizza or something. Red Robin, I don't know. Anyway, she's had a wonderful career. She's great. Stephanie, fuck, I'm so sorry.
It's
anyway,
okay. She'll forgive you.
Yeah. But we've talked like when Camille worked with her and stuff. She's cool. But I was with her. This Kristen was this other girl who was like my romantic connection in the show.
Sure, in the show. Yeah.
Like, have you seen Rent? You should go out for Rent. I guess I was more like rock and roll than like, whatever. The take it easy folks. And I was like, wow, I was hoping for something like that. I always loved like the Jesus Christ Superstars and that sort of a thing. And I was wanted to do those kinds of things. And I knew Rent was this really big, huge thing. And they were like, you should go check it out. They're having an open call. I'm like, well, I'll just go. So I was dating a girl, Juliana, who was in the show. And Juliana and I worked at the diner all night. And then we went to this first open call after Rent had opened on Broadway. It was a big hit, and they were getting ready to cast the tour. And so I waited all night. And Juliana got there early. I met her after 8 a.m. when I got off of my shift. I'd been up all night.
Yeah.
And then I met her, and the line was at the Cooper Square Union. It was, giant blocks right down there.
Yeah.
So if the entrance was on this side, we were behind the entrance in the other street. 7.5 hours later, I guess it was, like after they started auditioning, we finally got in. I mean, it was crazy. It was like, were
you at one point like, this is ridiculous, I'll never get in, should I even stay here? Or were you like, it's an opportunity?
No, I was like, yeah, I'm going to try this. Somebody said I might be right for this. I would see the posters, and I dressed like in I had my glasses on. I was going for the Mark guy, and I didn't know anything, seen the show, didn't know anything about it, didn't know the music, but it was the hot.
Larson passed away before it ever started on Broadway. Is that right?
Yeah. He passed away when it was downtown, the night before their first preview downtown.
Oh man.
Aortic aneurysm. So I waited in line, and then once we walked in the door, they looked at Juliana and they were like, you don't fit anything. See ya. She was typed out. And then I went, and I was going to sing "Oh Darling" by the Beatles. I worked with Zephyro, who was working on that 1940s musical, and I sang a cappella for this guy Will, I think, who was a casting director working with Bernie Telsey. Who cast the show, and then a bazillion things after that. And I sang. At first I was like, I've been up all night working at the diner, so take it easy on me. Take it easy. And I sang, but I killed it. And he was like, go to the next room. And I think I sang it again for someone, or I gave them my information. I don't know. Then I had another audition. Then I eventually auditioned. I'm going to just tell the story. Is that what's happening?
I can also, we have that video clip. Would that be a good place to drop it in right now?
No. Let me, I'll get you.
Lead to that and then say, play
it. So then, I think I had another audition, and then I got to audition for Bernie. I think Bernie was Bernie was my second audition. So I went in and I sang, "Oh Darling" for him. And he was like, all right. And then he was like, learn this song. And he gave me Halloween from Rent, which is...
Oh, I love that.
It's really kind of tricky. And I hadn't heard the musical, I hadn't seen it. Bill Zephyro was more of like, that kind of a musical theater guy. This was like a tricky kind of syncopated, kind of subdued, I don't know. It's a different kind of song. It's this weird standout in Rent, sort of, in a way. It's... and it was less straightforward than what we were used to. And I didn't read music, and Bill was like, I don't know what to make of this. I don't get it. And so then went back to sing for Bernie, and Bernie was like, all right, can't wait to see this. Woohoo. And I sang, and Bernie's face went from to,
all
right.
God,
man. And I was like, fuck. Anyway, almost there with the tape. Like a month or so later, I'm walking from. I was still in Take It Easy, and I was walking from Take It Easy, going down. So it was like 10 o'clock at night, I guess, 10:30, and I'm on my way down to. I used to walk from 42nd Street down to 23rd and 10th, where the diner was, the Empire Diner, and I walked by a couple of, like, that's where I auditioned for that agent. Oh, well, I guess I didn't get that guy. And then, oh, yeah, there's where Bernie's office was in the 30s.
We all do that.
Already. I guess I didn't get that. All right, see what it's next. And and this was like a month or so later, maybe more. I don't know, maybe less, but I think it was more. And I hadn't heard anything. And of course, I didn't expect to hear anything because I bombed. And I get to the diner and I checked my pager. And I called, and it was Bernie Telsey going, "Hey, Christian, it's Bernie Telsey. I'm at the office. Give me a call." I'm like, "What?" And it's like 11:30 at night, 11:45, and I'm getting ready to start my midnight shift as the graveyard manager, right? And I called to leave a message, and Bernie picks up. He's like, "Hey, Bernie Telsey," and I'm like, "Hey, Bernie, it's Christian Anderson calling." Like, "Oh, hey, Christian, how you doing? Listen, your last audition was horrible, right?" And I'm like. Yeah, he said it in such a kind way. He was like, "Listen, but there's something. Have you seen the show?" And I said, "No." And this was a Thursday night, I believe. And he was like, "All right, listen, you got standing room only tickets tomorrow. You got to pay $20. I think I had to pay $20 to go see him, but he got me a ticket, or maybe I got it for free. I don't know. Either way, and you're going to see the show. And then on Saturday, we're having a huge producer call, and I want you there." I'm like, "Okay." I was not throwing away my shot. You know what that's from?
Yeah, that's the Hamilton.
Yeah.
Right? I never seen it.
Yeah. So I brought in a tape recorder. That's right, Bernie, a tape recorder. Jeez. And I stuck it in my pocket.
Oh, good idea.
And I watched the show. And when I watched the show, I was like, this is what I have been dreaming of. I didn't necessarily, I'm sure I wanted to be, on Broadway or what have you, but eventually, sure, I wanted to be Gary Oldman, really. You know what I mean?
Could still happen.
Nah. I don't know if I wanted to, but I saw that show and I was like, I got to be a part of this. I have to be a part of this.
What was it about it? Because it was raw. It was something different, or what?
Music. The music was great. It was about a guy in a band. I was a guy in a band. It was about, just. I was willing to sell out. You know what I mean? These guys were like, "I don't want to sell out." I didn't have that kind of integrity, I guess. No, I don't know if I do still. But there was just something about, I was their age. I was about 26 at the time, I think. Mm-hmm. It just spoke to me, and I could see myself there. And as Mark, as Roger, as in the ensemble, anything, I didn't care. I wanted to be a part of the show. It was also this huge fucking phenomenon. And I was like, I understand why it's a huge phenomenon. Mm-hmm. I want in. And so I went the next day, and there were hundreds
for this producer's callback
of people. Yeah, I think Michael C. Hall was there too, who I later, got to know through Amy. But
but
he, it's just so many people wanting to have a piece of this phenomenon. Were there. There was wall-to-wall people. I don't even remember where it was, but like everywhere you looked, there were people, and there were so many rooms, I guess. And anyway, I got in and I killed it. And then the next, I got a call, and they said, "Great, you got a call back. Are you in the union?" I'm like, "No, I'm nobody." And they're like, "Okay, great, because Dateline is going to be kind of filming things, and we just want to make sure that you're cleared to be covered." And so I went in for that Dateline thing, and you can play it now if you like.
Here again is Jane Pauley.
The call went out for young singers with a street smart quality. 10,000 stage-struck kids showed up, hoping, praying for a job with the road company of Rent, the hit Broadway musical that won 4 Tony Awards and the Pulitzer Prize. They wanted unknowns. They got them. Now with the odds at 500 to 1, who would get the jobs? Here's Sarah James.
That bit is, because the rest of it's fine. You just got to get through this. Just think about it.
Bernie Telsey is the casting director for Rent. His job, to wade through a talent pool of unknown depth.
We're breaking down every door or looking under any sewer cap we can find to find that sort of unheard voice.
And there's no need to endure anymore.
Christian Anderson was one of those unheard voices. He's been surviving like many aspiring actors in New York.
Here you go. Ketchup and ice. You work the graveyard shifts just so you can pay your rent, so you can stay in the city, because that's where you have to be in order to do what you want to do. And you just keep on trying and keep on trying and keep on trying.
Anderson was called back many times, but so were several hundred other people, all competing for the same glory.
I feel like I'm getting close to finding the next cast, but I feel like it's going to be a never-ending search.
And remember Christian Anderson? After 10 years in restaurants, the waiting is over.
It changes your life, and hopefully I won't have to go back to the diner and then try to get another job.
Well, I didn't go back to the diner, but I've been back to many restaurants since.
But that's the business. It's so up and down.
Mm-hmm.
You have such highs. You can feel like you have such lows. But this is what an amazing win. And you were with the show on the road for a couple of years, and then you went back to Broadway with it.
14 years, yeah.
3?
So I was in the ensemble. I started out understudying Mark and Roger. Went on for them a lot. Kind of was like the Roger guy, I guess.
You can find videos of this on YouTube if you look up Christian Anderson and Rent. You'll see the YouTube videos.
Really?
Bad quality, but they're there.
So yeah, I was in the ensemble for a while, and then our Mark left, and I became Mark. And then I got a call from the producers shortly thereafter while we were in Chicago, where they said, "Hey, Anthony Rapp is leaving Rent, and he wants to finish out his time in Rent in Chicago, where he's from, in front of his family and friends and stuff. So you guys want to switch places?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I made my Broadway debut as Mark, I guess taking over for Anthony Rapp for a second, but then quickly leaving, and Jim Poulis took over from there. And that was cool because like my third show, what's her face was in the audience. That was crazy. Meryl Streep.
Oh my God.
Daughter, I believe, were like third or fourth row center. I was like, whoa, it was crazy, but it was so fun. And then I went back to Chicago, and then I became, when we left Chicago, I became, our Roger left, and I became Roger. And then at that point, I guess I was engaged to Cherie, my first wife, and
mother of his first 2 daughters.
Yep, Ruby and Avery, and who I just saw last weekend.
Hi, Ruby and Avery.
Yeah. And hi, Uncle Ian.
Oh my God.
And then I got demoted back to the ensemble because they brought in Daphne Rubin Vega and this other guy to be Roger for her to close out the tour in '99. So 3 years on that show.
That's amazing. So that led to other opportunities on Broadway. And I don't know what order it was, like High Fidelity.
Well, No. I left Rent, went to I moved to LA, got married, all that stuff. I
remember that bachelor party.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember it, but there are certain parts I remember. I remember Damien and the blood in the bathroom, and
yeah, I do too. That was fun.
Yeah, that was
LA
Carrie was there. But speaking of Carrie kind of led into my new job. So Carrie was there at the Carrie Hamilton.
Oh, Carrie Hamilton. Burnett's daughter. Yeah.
She was in Rent. She was Maureen, our first Maureen, and then Amy Spanger took over. And then Aaron Keeney took over from her. Long time to be in one show, but I was lucky to have different roles. I don't recommend doing it for so long, but I don't, whatever. I bought a house and whatever.
Yeah.
I saw the country. It was great. Met a lot of cool people. Anyway, so Carrie sadly passed away, and I kind of had a relationship with Kevin McCullum, who was a producer over at with Rent, and he's a big old producer. And I just wanted to kind of tell him what had happened. So I called him and I said, "Hey, did you hear Carrie died?" And he was, shocked and upset. And we spoke for a while, and then we got to talking about what we were doing. And I had been working in a restaurant. And in fact, I remember waiting on this mother and her daughter, and they were kind of like, and I was getting them stuff, took the order. And before they answered, they said, well, instead of answering if they needed anything else, they were like, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah. Do you know Christian Anderson? And I'm like, I am Christian Anderson. And the girl was like, I'm a big Rent fan. I'm like, oh, that's great. Can I get you Diet Coke?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so I talked to Kevin for a while, and Kevin was like, well, this is what I'm working on. And hey, have you seen the Full Monty? I'm like, I know the movie. He's like, well, we're working on the tour. Would you be interested in maybe coming in? And I said, yeah. So I went in and I auditioned, and got a call back for that. And then found myself in London with the runner-up for Dave, the best friend of Jerry. And we were told by Jack O'Brien and Jerry Mitchell right then and there, all right, you guys, you got the job. And so we got,
my God.
And we went outside of RADA, and we were like, we got the job. And then I puked in the hallway of the hotel and almost missed my flight home the next morning.
God. But you got the job anyway.
I got
so it didn't matter.
That was awesome. And we traveled, went to Japan and all around the country. It was really
and
cool.
you had to do full frontal for that. And people would take photos occasionally because it was supposed to go dark, and then there'll be a flash photo. Didn't that happen sometimes?
Well, no, not flash photo, but sometimes people would bring giant boat flashlights, those big boat lights you'd have, and like, so the lights, we would be completely naked, except for our boots and our socks.
Oh,
and
that's enough.
The Full Monty sign lights up, and it blinds the audience with our silhouette. And so, yeah, a couple times people brought flashlights. But one time in LA, while Jan, my ex-mother-in-law, was in the audience, a Verilight, which is like a programmed light. The lights change, and a Verilight would go and shoot over here as opposed to over here. A fucking Verilight shot right on me and this guy, Dave. Right
in front of your mother-in-law.
Yeah, but they were probably already blinded. I don't know. Anyway.
You are pretty pale. So
pale. Yeah, that would have blinded him enough. So
that's what I'm thinking.
Full Monty, I got off the tour of the Full Monty, and then while I was in the Full Monty, Kevin was working on a new musical downtown called Avenue Q, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool." And then when I got off of that tour, my agent was like, "Hey, they're putting up a tour of Avenue Q in Vegas. You want to go in for it?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "I know."
Is this? I am interrupting, but does that bring you to where you were working with people who are puppeteers and you're like actors, puppeteer? Is this that?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So continue.
So I went in for that show, and I had been collecting, like I said, like when I was a kid, I wanted to work with Jim Henson, but then he died, and I was like,
he's not just saying this. He was the biggest Jim Henson fan in all the world. And I remember how devastated you were when he died.
Yeah, it was sad. And I remember I was working at the Lenny and Joe's Fishtail, and the Greens were like, oh no. And they came down just to console me. But they came down. They're like, are you at the restaurant? I'm like, yeah. And they came a town away, which wasn't a big deal, but how sweet of them to like,
he was your idol.
I wanted to work with Jim Henson for sure. But then, we knew Sal Macri, who had a puppets company, like Sicilian Puppets in Stony Creek. And Mom, I remember one time when I was like in 8th grade or something, we're like, oh, Sal knows your hero. I'm like, oh yeah. But who they met at puppet festivals, but there was no like true path. Although UConn had like one of like maybe 2 or 3 at the time, had like you could get your master's in puppetry at University of Connecticut, and here we are. So whatever. And Nancy went there, our aunt. So auditioned. They were like, "Wow, you could be a puppeteer," because I knew I could do this.
You knew puppets.
Since I was a little kid. I just got it. You know,
you always did it. You did it with whatever you could find on your hand. Or we had
I would always
puppets.
play with puppets. Just
We had an animal. We had Fozzie and all the different ones. Yeah.
Yep. Frank got me an animal puppet, like those rubber ones, and at FBO Schwartz, I knew exactly what I wanted. And he's like, "Oh, you want that?" And I'm like, "No." And I was like, all through the hallways, I want that. And it was right up.
And its eyes blinked and everything. It was so cool.
Yep. Had the Kermit, like when we were traveling across country with John Skebe, like Super Kermit. Anyway, so I went in and auditioned for the producers, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to go to puppet school." So I went to puppet school, work with Peter Lynch, who is now Ernie, and
oh wow,
he's Walter from that first reboot of the Muppets. He's huge. He's one of the main Muppet performers. And I before I went to puppet camp, which you spend like a week working all day with a puppeteer to see if you could.
You must have been in heaven.
So I was in total heaven. But I remember, I'm like, I'm going to get this show, and I'm going to learn something and do something. This is going to change my life. And it did. But I bought a book. I made a puppet out of foam. I brought it to Peter. I said, "Would this work?" And he was like, "Yeah, the eyes were pretty far apart, but they were focused, and it was a moving mouth." It was my first puppet, and Boyd, the foam green humanoid. And I knew what part I was going in for, the Nicky Trekkie. So there were live hands. So I had a shirt on it, and it was a really clunky puppet. And I worked my ass off. And me and my friend Trey Ellett, who were in Rent together, he was living with Wilson Cruz, who I did Rent with in Broadway for a second. We went to Wilson's house, and we taped each other and critiqued each other. And he would go, then I would go, then he would go, then I would go, and he would go. And we really were in this thing together, and we were going to try to get this part. Like maybe he'd be Princeton and I'd be Nicky Trekkie. And I remember Wilson going, "Well, somebody wants a job." I'm not kidding around. Well, I got the job. And what they said was, "You're going to go in, you're going to learn the role. You're going to follow Rick, who was the original Nicky Trekkie." And so I did. I watched him for 3 weeks. I had 3 weeks rehearsal, and then I was going to go on for his vacation, and that will determine, if I was going to be good enough to go to the Vegas company. And he got sick like the Saturday before I was supposed to go on that Tuesday, and so I went on four shows earlier. It was crazy. It was really fun, and I did a great job. And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to Vegas." But I found out that I wasn't going to Vegas. I went to New York and took over for Rick while Rick went to Vegas. Then Rick came back and I left. And that was around the time where, so then I was there on and off for about 3 years, and learned.
I have an 18-second clip. Should I play it? Or you? Sure. Here goes.
We're gay. That'd be okay. I mean, 'cause hey, I'd like you anyway.
Internet is for porn.
So you do this for 3 years.
On and off for about 3 years. And yeah, I'm sorry if am I monologuing? Am I just like?
No, I love this. This is great. I don't want to keep you forever, but there's still some stuff I want to hear.
Oh, for sure.
Are you good on time?
Yeah, I'm good on time.
Oh, there you are.
That's the poster from outside the theater with Jen Barnhart, who was like the original right-hander in one of the.
She's awesome.
She's amazing.
She lives near me.
She lives near you?
Yeah.
In Milford?
I ran into her at like a SAG thing. We were picketing during the strike. No, she lives in North Haven. I don't want to give away where somewhere around New Haven, people.
Yeah. I think her mom, or Hamden maybe. If she lives, does she live in her mom's house?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe her mom just passed away.
Yeah.
Like a year ago or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And she got her master's at UConn. Smart lady.
Smarty.
Yeah.
But you ended up at the same place. So this, unless you had something else to say, this led to more. You got the skills of building puppets.
Yeah.
You got this experience of being a puppeteer for 3 years in a professional production. And then I just have a short montage of other puppet clips.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about a friend of yours.
Okay.
The Great Book of Vivian. This is is my favorite book. Maybe it ends in a party. Maybe it ends with ennui. Maybe it ends with a bunch of new friends.
'Cause he's my best friend. Okay, technically my boyfriend.
Yeah, we stay up all night, it's nuts. Get on the iPad and Google butts.
Pinstripes, you can either listen to what the man has to say, or we can do this the hard way. Why are you so greedy?
I don't know. Why are you so hairy?
Body bouncer. You wrap it around anything, it makes it bounce. Wrap it around an air conditioner, it'll bounce. Wrap it around an R2D2, he'll bounce. Wrap it around a flat screen TV, it'll bounce. Wrap it around a flat screen TV repairman, he'll bounce. Wrap it around Lara Croft, she'll bounce.
Party pooper! Woohoo!
So at this point, you've essentially moved away from doing stage productions. You did some film and TV, but this has become and still is your main focus is making puppets, doing puppet jobs. You did Crank Yankers as well.
Yeah.
Which is that like a prank calling? I've never seen it. Prank calling puppet show? I don't think I have.
It started in like 2003 or 4 or 5 or something like that. I guess maybe that long ago. And they did like 5 seasons. And then 13 years later, they did seasons 5 and 6, 4 seasons, then 5 or 6. And I was in 5 and 6, the last 2 seasons. Yeah.
It's my my co-host.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes,
sorry.
comedians like and musicians, I guess. Bobby Brown would do calls. What's his face? Tracy Morgan, Wanda Sykes. You know, these kinds of people would make crank calls to companies, going, "Oh yeah, I would be interested in having this, that, and the other thing." And you'd Tim and Eric also. So many people. And then they would recreate those calls with puppets.
It sounds. Was it like inspired by the Jerky Boys, or was it a thing before?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it might have been inspired by the Jerky Boys. I think the Jerky Boys was first. That was all like audio stuff. Like you get those tapes, right?
Yeah.
In the 90s, was it?
My co-host Bill, who you met on the Ejectables,
Yep.
he wrote a screenplay for the Jerky Boys movie, and they're making it.
Oh,
So
wow.
It's in pre-production. I think I'm allowed to say that. Yes, it was on Deadline or whatever.
That's
But
great.
yeah, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
So then you've had all these opportunities. You did Crank Yankers, and then you're like, you wanted to take things kind of into your own hands. But
I get it.
Yeah. Do you want? I don't know what you can tell me about this, but tell me what you want about your friend, and then I'll play a little clip.
Oh, I mean, yeah. So when I was at Avenue Q, I was like, this is great. I want to just do something with this. And I would talk to like Howie, who was in the tape, and this woman, Amy. And I was like, I want to let's do our own thing. Let's have our own show. Not that I didn't want to, but I thought we could do something kind of Avenue Q-y. Anyway, I wanted to always have my own thing. And then when I came out to LA, kind of got involved with this YouTube group called Yum Yum F. Which is a Justin Lin executive produced sort of thingy. And we did this very, very blue web series called 88 Way on YouTube. And then I had directed the puppetry for a regional production of Avenue Q out here. And from there, I got introduced to a woman who was like a talent scout casting person for America's Got Talent. And she said, throw us some ideas. So I threw them 5 ideas, and this is the one that they went with.
So excited, Mom. I'm gonna sing for Mel B.
Hello?
Hi.
What's your name?
Ira Fennel Bloom. You are so beautiful.
Mel B.
You're everything I hope for. After I sang my song and I saw all the smiles and all the people in the crowd, I realized that I do have a calling, and that's to sing and make people happy. In you, believe in love, let's get it on. Thank you, thank you. It's not unusual to be sad with anyone, but if I find out that you have changed at any time.
Yeah.
This was huge. You were on for quite a few episodes. Competing.
4 episodes. So we did 2 that were pre-recorded, and then we did 2 live ones at Radio City the last time that they had the show in Radio City. And I've been on since. Then they called me 5 years later, and we auditioned. We didn't air. It didn't work out. And then we did another thing with them where I had a Simon puppet just a couple of years ago. And
Didn't
then
you go to Italy too, or was that
in their Vegas show? What was that?
Didn't you go to Italy as well? Like someone.
Right. So when we got kicked off of America's Got Talent with Ira the first time, we got a call from the show called Tu Si Che Valis, which is like You Have Value, which is in Rome. And so they flew me out to Rome. And then we went to the finals with that show. And so we flew back to Rome. We didn't win. And then 5 years later, they were like, hey, you want to come with another act? And so I brought another puppet. And so I was on their show 3 times.
What amazing gigs. It was so cool to see you in at Radio City Music Hall doing
Ira. You
Ira.
guys made those shirts and you came, and it was really fun.
What is he up to? Is he back to waiting tables, or what's he doing?
I don't wait any tables anymore. I sit in a garage and I'm on a little post right up my bum.
Oh, Ira, it's good to see you.
I'm not the real Ira. I'm the second iteration of Ira.
Wait, because they have the real Ira?
No, I have the real Ira. He's just so gross. So
Well,
I
but that's-
remade him.
He looks really nice and clean. Wait,
Oh,
but
yeah,
how gross is he?
Oh, you don't want to know.
Okay, that's fine.
You don't want to know.
Hi, Ira. It's good to see you. Thank you for visiting us today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Ian. So good to see you.
Ira, can you do me a favor and ask my brother about his kiss and tell?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Christian, what's your kiss and tell?
I believe he said hypertension.
I did. So I don't really have a really great one, but can it be like behind the scenes of like a puppet?
Behind the scenes of anything. Behind the scenes of anything.
Well, let me just give you. I'll end with hypertension, but and then nothing juicy. But I guess
No, it's fine.
Okay, the first one is in The Office. I rode in a van with Ellie Kemper, and that was really cool. I think she's awesome. I love the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, but also Kate Flannery from that show. You know, she I think she kind of plays kind of a curmudgeon. She's got that red hair.
Oh, okay, I know.
She's the sweetest freaking lady ever. She's so sweet. And we talked and talked and talked, and she was so kind. And then I was on The Division, right? With John Hamm and Taraji P. Henson. I had I had a scene with them, and my character was. I'm glad you didn't show a clip, or maybe you have one. I don't know.
Oh, is that the one when you're? No, I don't. The one when you're kind of a creepy dude.
I was way over the top, but that's what the director wanted. But I remember we showed it in class, and he was like, Deke, you were a little over the top. And I'm like, I know I was. She kept going more and more and more, so I did more. And Taraji P. Henson was like, what she said? She said, you're a joke. And I don't know if she was talking about me and my performance or the character, because he was a joke. But at my
I remember it.
You remember that? Yeah, it was weird and over the top.
Yeah,
I'm
just
like,
yeah.
I had a sty, but I had a little lunch and I sat down all by myself, and John Hamm sat with me for like 45 minutes and was like, what's your story, man? Tell me about you. And he just listened to me talk about all my theater stuff. And this was before his big show. What was his big show?
Mad Men.
Yeah, it was before that. He was this young guy on this show. And he was just, I'll never forget how just kind he was. And so he just sat right next to me down, like not at a table. We were sitting down on on the floor almost. He just sat down right next to me. Like I was this guy he wanted. It was so kind.
And just making you feel at home. Did you feel he was doing it for you, or he just wanted to engage with someone I don't know, maybe.
We were on a little break. Again, maybe it wasn't lunch. It was just a little break because we would have sat somewhere else for lunch or something. No, I just felt like he was like, oh, hey, this guy's kind of cool. And I don't know. I'm just, who are you? And he just was interested
That's
in
so
me.
nice.
And I was just so, I didn't feel like it was put on. Nobody was watching. It was just he and I off in the corner of the set, somewhere where there was nobody else, and he didn't have to do it. I didn't know who he was really. I kind of guess maybe I knew who she was at the time. Maybe not. It was before like hot on half off him, and now she's huge. They both are. But and she was nice enough. We were in the, makeup trailer, but she was doing her own thing, had her own relationship and own shit going on. But he just really took the time to make me feel at home. And I just really appreciated it.
And had she said the things she said to you before that? And was that in your head, or was that after he spoke with you?
There was so many things happening, and I hadn't done a lot of TV.
What's one thing we always talk about is like when you go on these shows and say these smaller parts or work for one day, it's always like you're going to someone else's Thanksgiving dinner where they all know each other so well. Yes. And then you're like, I have to pretend I'm comfortable, but I'm not. And then he does that, which is so cool.
Yes. And I didn't go like, oh, hey, he just kind of, and I looked up and was like, hi. And he was like, oh, hey, what's your story, man? What do you do? And I had just got off of the full Monty. In fact, in my audition, some girl goes, hey, were you in the full Monty? And I was like, yeah. No. I was like, oh, I got recognized at the audition. That made me feel really cool. But then the complete opposite, I hadn't spent a lot of time on set. I remember my first commercial ever was my only commercial was Captain Morgan's, and I was standing there in the frame, and they're like, hey, just stand in the frame for a second. I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, all right, step out of frame. So I went. So I'm like, I'm standing in frame. They're like, okay, yeah, all right, great. So that's how he's going to look. All right, step out of frame. So I was like, oh, okay.
You're like, I don't know what you mean.
Out of frame. I didn't know what they were talking about. So I hadn't spent a lot of time inside. I'm very uncomfortable, and it wasn't,
which is so not you because you're so comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, like, well, whatever is what you get, Like, and especially in a theater too. Like, we grew up in theater, so. But I didn't really get comfortable on set until Crank Yankers, where I was there every day. And I got to know the focus puller. I got to know the camera operators. I got to know everybody, the gaffers and all of them. It was awesome.
Did you not? Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Well, I was just going to say, being a puppeteer, while we are talent, I also felt kind of like the crew in a sense, because when I'm doing the puppet thing, I can wear my pajamas. In fact, I did wear my pajamas. I wore my crazy socks with Coco on them. And
I've also seen you in skin tight, green and black outfits too, which I would not.
That was almost going to be my kiss and tell. My real kiss and tell, I guess, is when I was on Kidding, and I was doing a scene with Jim Carrey and Mary Faber, who I had done Avenue Q with. She was actually another puppeteer on the show.
Okay,
and that's kind of crazy because. Not part of my kiss and tell, but we were in a swamp, and my character, the Fly, who in that clip was initially voiced by Jim, but then he was like, and I ended up doing the voice, copying him. But my character was going and spray painting a swastika on a mountain behind us. And so he goes, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm on this thing. He's like, well, that's an offensive, so it was kind of teaching a lesson. My character was part of the show within the show. He was like a Mr. Rogers character. And my character was one of the characters in his Mr. Rogers kind of show.
It was a Showtime show, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Very dark and crazy. So he's sitting on this thing, and I have to go in and then be right next to him and kind of weave and, and they were going to green me out. And then I didn't know it, but I'm on high blood pressure medication now, but I didn't know I had high blood pressure. And I was just walking over and I'd be like, and I really wasn't doing much. And I remember one time he looked at me and he goes, breathing hard now, aren't we? Or he also was like, he was very nice to me. He was fine to us all in the cast on the show, but he did say something like, I came in too early at one point, and he was like, well, you fucked that take up, so let's do that again, but it was kind of, it wasn't like, hey, you jerk. Anyway, that was my kiss and tell. But on the other side of him was Mary, and Mary was under this big, kind of blanket puppet, it was Scum or something. It was like the Soap Scum, I think was the puppet's name. And it was this big kind of Cookie Monster kind of bag puppet. And she was under that and in so I'm just underneath all this shit. But outside of that, they've got all this smoke, and she's laying on the ground and inhaling all this stuff. And at one point, she's almost passed out.
Oh my God.
So they had to pull her out, and they pulled her outside. And oh my God, who was the other actress? She was in
from Someone in Kidding? Is that?
Yeah. What's her name? Oh my God,
They can go on IMDb. Don't feel bad. It's hard to come up with names at our age.
She worked on the show. She was also in like John Malkovich, I think. She was also in the 40-Year-Old Virgin. He ends up with her at the end. What's her name?
Oh, what?
Yes.
Wait, is it Apatow's wife?
Nope.
Oh. I don't remember.
Fuck, I don't remember. I'm going to look
It's
it up.
okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
she went out and she took care of Mary, gave her some air. It was insane. It was really, it was cool.
I'm glad you survived though the whole hypertension thing. There's one thing.
Yeah.
Well, there's one thing I wanted to, and this is going way over what I had planned, but there's one thing I wanted to ask you about, and you may not want to talk about it. It may not even be true the way I remember it.
Yeah.
And this is going back to your theater days. I didn't mention
Catherine
High Fidelity.
Keener.
Catherine Keener. Oh
Love
yeah, she's
her.
amazing. Yeah, no, she's
so
awesome.
sweet to work with too.
But I believe you were doing a workshop for a show in New York City, and you thought you were taking a break, and then you found out from the trades, this might not be true, that they had gone in a different direction, and you lost the part after having been in the workshop of it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this was Elf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was going to be the last workshop before it went to Broadway. So Elf the musical, and
you were Elf.
I was Buddy the Elf,
which was huge.
Yeah, it was awesome. George Wendt was Santa Claus. He was so sweet. I worked with him again on a TV show years later, and I was like underneath going, "Hey, George, I was Buddy." And he's like, "Oh my God." It was him and Coolio. Both of them. Coolio was he was just like telling dumb dad jokes. They were both super sweet. Anywho, I did this workshop, and maybe it was also the hypertension too. I don't know, because I remember getting off of the first opening number, and I just was doing too much. It just wasn't a right fit for me. Casey Nicklaw, the director, and we didn't fight or anything. I just
didn't quite gel.
We didn't quite gel. I certainly didn't give him what he wanted. Like even Camille came and saw it and was like, you were pushing in some points. I didn't believe you in this scene or whatever, but you did a good job. You know, I think I got like the sensitivity of it right. Just a lot of the humor. It
seems like a perfect fit to me, you and that character.
Yes, but I don't know. And, you know, the two people who like were doing that before me were Christian Borle and Jesse from Modern Family. He plays the gay couple. What is his name? Jesse Ferguson?
Yeah, I don't know, but I know who you mean.
And so these guys, I was kind of following in their footsteps. But yeah, it just didn't gel. And
but did you find out the proper way? Or I think I remember you finding out
I don't know exactly how maybe I did, but I kind of knew it wasn't happening because my manager at the time was really pushing for me because I didn't have any momentum like in TV or anything. And I was like, I live in LA. My kids are in LA. I want to be in LA.
Of course.
And they're like, oh, you got momentum in New York. Do that. And I didn't see it. I didn't want it. And
you were tortured being, I think, separated from your children.
Well, yeah, you know,
and your family. Yeah.
Fell apart. Again, that was one of the reasons us being so far.
Yeah, sure.
That was, I think, the largest reason.
That would be super tough. Yeah.
It was really tough. I mean, I was out there for like 5 years on and off. And Cherie and Ruby were in LA. Yeah. Anyway, so they're like, all right, we got you a call back and or we got you an audition. You got to go and you got to audition again. You really go in there and get it. And so I went in there but I called Casey and it was funny. I called Casey. Casey was like, oh, well, you just beat me. I was just going to call you. And I'm like, I didn't believe it. And I didn't think he was, but he was trying to save face. And I got there and I worked with Matt Sklar, who I think was probably rooting for me. You know, and then we went into the room and Casey just was like, the way Casey was he was doing this little dance to the song I was singing was kind of like, I told you guys, I told you he's not the one, you know, is what I kind of, maybe it was in my head. He definitely didn't say that.
We all do stuff in our head.
What I was imagining was going on in his head as I'm auditioning. So I knew, I'm like, that didn't go as I thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
It went probably exactly how I thought it was going to go, and not me getting the part. And I actually was okay with it, but the way it happened, it sucked. And I think I did find out that Sebastian Arcellus got it, who I think I may have met once or twice. But I never saw him. So it was a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow. But we went to New York back in January and we saw it. I called up, I texted Matt, and he kind of hooked us up with tickets, sort of, and got to see the show, and went backstage and got to see Sean, what's his face, the Hobbit, playing Santa.
Oh yeah, Astin.
Sean Astin. He was so kind. Coco loved it because she's been listening to the music, and so it came full circle. It was good to go and see it.
And you also, I don't know if it was before or after, we don't have to go on, but I didn't mention, I just wanted to say you did High Fidelity, which you premiered this role, and you were in the original soundtrack. The show didn't last very long, sadly.
A week and a half on Broadway.
Oh, that must have
after
been torture.
previews.
But you've had some, but you've had mega wins, and we all have those dips and valleys. But I think you finally found the place where you belong, which is this puppet making dude, and it's so exciting what opportunities might come next.
Yeah, who knows?
That's the best part of the business. Do you have, as we finish up here, any advice that you wish you had known when you were starting, or something you think would be useful for anyone? You don't have to.
Oh, I mean, no, I don't know. I mean, you kind of have to just, I don't know, just do your own thing, I guess. You have to follow your heart, not the idea of like what other people might think of you if that doesn't fit well with you, you know. And if your mind, if something's not working and your mind is not, then pivot. It's okay to pivot, I think. You know, I've kind of reinvented myself. Mm-hmm. A lot of, you know, it's the same shit that people tell actors all the time. You know, it's your talent and your effort are like this much of a much bigger picture, you know. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up and just keep going. Camille coaches here, and Andy is one of her Andy Ridings. He's amazing, and he has been auditioning, especially now. This town, and I live in LA, and the town, nothing's happening here. Like the tiniest parts are going to names, you know. And he just got a great little part with Kathleen Chalfant, who I did Wit with in 1999.
At the Geffen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be directed by, I don't know if I can say anything. Don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
Anyway, but he doesn't give
for
up.
him.
He's going and he keeps going and he keeps going, and you just have to keep. If this is what you want, you got to keep going, and it's going to be no, and maybe a yes, maybe 2 yeses, maybe 3 yeses, maybe 100 million yeses, maybe no yeses.
That's the same advice you gave in your in the audition thing for Rent. You said the same thing. Just keep on going.
Hopefully you don't go back to the diner and have to work.
And that's okay if you do.
Yeah.
Or you set your brother up with a job there and he blows it after 2 days and you never. Sorry. And lastly, I know Jim Henson's dead, so I know you cannot work with him. But is there any opportunity you would die for? Not literally die, but a dream opportunity or a dream role that you would want?
I've never had a dream role like that. You know, like people are like, I want to play Jean Valjean, and you know, ever had anything like that. And if there's anything, my dream role, I don't think anybody else has done it. I would like to, you know, like I wanted to do an Avenue Q, kind of have my own thing so I make these puppets and I got a wall full of these characters, and maybe someday I'll figure out how to do something with them. But that would be my dream, just to do my own thing. I think, you know, I think really it would be nice to be successful and to have that be my only thing. But I kind of don't mind the hustle and, you know, building for other people and working on different other people's shows and stuff. That's fun too.
It keeps it exciting. You never know what's next. Thank you so much for your time, little brother. Everyone, please stalk Christian Anderson. Look at Christian S. Anderson to see this Christian's TV credits. But thank you for your time, brother. I love you. Anything else you want to talk up or tell people to check out? Look for his wife, Camille Chen.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
Follow my stuff on Pandersonium, Pandersonium on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram.
Is that so? At Pandersonium? Can you spell it one more time? Because I'm slow.
At Pandersonium, yeah, Pandersonium. Pandemonium. It's Pandemonium and Anderson.
Oh my God.
Bill
That's
Cody,
really...
Connecticut came up with that.
Oh my God. He's my neighbor too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Christian. I love you, little brother. Hang on for 2 seconds. Everyone else, like, share, tell your friends, make many, many comments that are very positive about Christian, even if you're lying, and tell him happy birthday in your comments too, because he just got slightly older.
I did.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Christian.
Thanks, Ian.
Stay here.